Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk about all things NHL related from across the pond in Scotland, and today I am combining two of the things that I spend most of my time on, the NHL and marketing. I'm currently getting my master's degree in international marketing and management, and I also work freelance in marketing as well. I'm obviously interested in NHL marketing, and it's actually the research area that I've just picked for my master's thesis. And so today I thought I could turn this into a sort of fun little video. Businesses in general, and including sports teams, should really care about their branding because it is the thing that the customer / the fan sees. Consumers don't see the background strategies and all of the planning stuff and all of the backroom things. This part of marketing is what you would refer to as the front-facing parts, so it's the parts that the consumer sees. And obviously NHL teams, same as any sports teams, you're all in the same league together, but you are competitors still because you're competing to get a bigger fan base each. I know in North America it's usually pretty well established who's going to support what, but as the NHL aims to internationalise more, every team is going to be competing to get fans in. Every team wants a bigger fan base because obviously it's better for them in general. So your brand has to be good in order to stand out against your competitors, which in this case are other teams in the same league. I've seen people on Twitter for a while making those tiers of NHL logos and jerseys and sort of ranking them from like best to worst in categories. And I thought I could put my spin on that as someone who is becoming specialised in the field of marketing, and I thought I could do it by brand and rank from A+ through to D which teams have the best branding. Now for this I'm going to focus on brand identity, which is the visual aspect of branding, because branding is a wide thing with differentiation and market positioning and brand values and definition and a lot of backroom stuff that consumers don't see. But for the sake of this, I thought I would focus on brand identity, which is the front-facing thing that fans / consumers actually see within a brand. So I'm talking iconography, colours, graphics, logos, stuff like that. Branding is also very subjective, and this is just my opinions on this. It's nothing to do with the organisations themselves or how I feel about how they organisationally run stuff. It's not a background business strategy type of ranking, it's literally just the visual aspects of the brand. And as my opinion, feel free to disagree. The NHL has professionals that work in their marketing who are definitely more experienced than I am, but I thought this would be fun to do and it's just my opinion. So let's dive in, shall we? And I'm going to rank these from A+ all the way down to a D, and I felt neutral on a lot of the teams, but I've tried to keep it as equal per category as possible because I thought that was more interesting than saying I feel neutral on all of these. So we're going to start off from the bottom. So this is who I would give a D to in terms of grading. So I've got the Edmonton Oilers in here mainly because in terms of colour palette, I hate navy and orange together. It just doesn't work for me. I don't like it at all. I can't stand it. I also don't love Edmonton's logo for some reason. The New York Islanders are also in this category for the same reason. They have the same colour scheme, which I think is an absolute crime. It doesn't look very good on jerseys when you see the navy and the orange together. A black would go better with the orange, or the blue would go better with a softer colour. But there's something about orange and navy that just does not do it for me in the slightest. So that's why these two are down in the bottom. Also given a D, I'm going to give it to the Calgary Flames because even though I don't mind a simple logo, it's almost too simple. It also kind of reminds me of a baseball logo rather than hockey, and I think the brands of NHL teams should be directly correlated to the sport of hockey, whereas this one gives me baseball. Also looks like the Guildford Flames logo if you have ever watched the EIHL in the UK. Even though it's not even the same letter. And also Calgary did come first, but I digress. I've put the Carolina Hurricanes also in this bottom tier because their logo makes no sense. Nobody who doesn't already watch the NHL is going to know what that is. Nobody would look at that and think it's a sports team. It doesn't even look like anything. No, I know it's meant to be like a hurricane, I understand that, but there's no indication of what that team is, so no, D. I've also put the Vancouver Canucks down here. These were kind of sitting between a C and a D, like I was kind of neutral on it, but I don't know, again, it's sort of giving me a baseball team vibe, which there's nothing wrong with, except for the fact we're not watching baseball. The Philadelphia Flyers are the last team I've got in this bottom ranking, and again, they were borderline between a C and a D. I just don't love the logo for some reason. I'm not a fan. The colours don't work for me great either. They're better than the navy and the orange, but orange in general is not the best. Sheffield Steelers, I'm looking at you. Now to the teams I am neutral on, so these I would grade a C. So we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now Tampa would be scored much higher if they just picked a different shade of blue, however when they play the Toronto Maple Leafs it is actually a headache to watch. And as the newer team to the league by far, the Leafs have been playing for decades in those colours, it should have been their responsibility to make sure there was differentiation in the branding, whereas there is just no colour differentiation whatsoever. The Winnipeg Jets are also kind of neutral for me. I don't hate the logo, but I've always wondered, is there some relevance of the Jets in Winnipeg? Because I actually don't know here at all. I'm showing myself up. I'm just not convinced. It also reminds me of the WestJet logo, and as I said, good branding. You should look at a logo and have a vague idea of what it represents, and I don't feel like you look at that and you see a hockey team. The Buffalo Sabres are also on this list. I don't mind the yellow involved, and I like the shade of blue that they use. I actually quite like the logo, it's okay. However, their jerseys I never really like that much. I just don't like them. I just don't feel like it works on a jersey. So the San Jose Sharks are also on this. They were between a B and a C, I won't lie, but I don't know. It's almost too complex of a logo, and I feel like when you probably scale it down you probably wouldn't know it was a shark. I just think there's more you can do with a shark as your logo than what they're doing right now, because the shark, very fierce, very powerful, I feel like it could represent a sports team well. I don't feel like they utilise it to their advantage. The Chicago Blackhawks are also on here just because I just don't know how I feel about their branding, so in the neutral area. The Columbus Blue Jackets are also on here because I don't hate it, and the theme runs very well throughout the arena with the link to America, but there's also no indication like of what the logo stands for anyone who's probably outside of the States. So in terms of international branding, it's not very effective. The Anaheim Ducks are also on here. Now, if they had their old logo, they would be getting like an A, but this duck foot thing that they've got going on doesn't do it for me. Now we're up to the Bs. So we have the Detroit Red Wings, obviously a very iconic logo, but again, it hasn't changed in a while. I don't feel like their branding has been like updated very much because they know that it's iconic. However, if you want to branch out to more audiences, you kind of need to like try up in your stuff a little bit, so that's why I give it a B. The Vegas Golden Knights are also on here, and if it wasn't for the chrome helmets that they integrate in their jerseys, they probably would be higher, but see the gold, I don't know, that's not good. The Dallas Stars, now they get marked down for the fact that they seem to be incorporating neon into their branding, which doesn't work very well. And also my home team here is the Dundee Stars, and frankly I'm sick of looking at stars. I've put the Pittsburgh Penguins on as a B, which I was tempted to put them as an A because it's a penguin, but I don't know, I feel like my stronger association to the brand of the Pittsburgh Penguins are the likes of Sidney Crosby and the players that play for them rather than the images. I don't know, I kind of like the penguin, but I feel like similar to the shark, they could use it better. I think it's the triangle. I don't know why they have the triangle there. I think that's what throws me off. The St. Louis Blues, kind of like the little music note, but I don't think it would, you know, entice anyone in to be a St. Louis Blues fan if you were trying to pick an NHL team. I have the Ottawa Senators also on here because I feel like their logo is actually too complex sometimes. It looks good on jerseys and it looks very good on the ice. However, if you were to kind of scale that down to maybe merchandise and other things, I feel like you lose a lot of the details. It's like when you get a tattoo and you want it to be really detailed, a good tattoo artist will tell you that there's like a minimum size you have to get it because you will lose the detail and all the nice bits of it if you try and get it too small. It's kind of like that. Finally, we have the Arizona Coyotes because their old branding was so much better, but this very complicated multicolored coyote they've got going on now is not as good. Also, it's very similar positioning to what the Pittsburgh Penguins little penguin is doing with the stick. Their old logo with just the coyote's face was much better. We're now into the A's, so this is A-. This is almost perfect in my opinion. So we have the Nashville Predators. I love the colour, I love the logo with the animal. The only thing is, as Nashville is such a sort of music city, I would love to have seen something in their brand that screams Nashville a little bit more, but I do love it. The Minnesota Wild, I really love it. This is one of the best logos in the NHL in my opinion. The colouring's really good, it's really unique. It's got its own colour palette that's separate to everybody else. With the trees in it, screams Minnesota. Whoever does your branding is very good. And I was tempted to put this in the A+, but just because the ones in the A+ are so perfect, I dropped it down one. The Montreal Canadiens, I feel like their branding works because of their history. However, again, I didn't give it an A+ only because I feel like people don't know what the H stands for unless you're actually a hockey fan. And sometimes if you want to draw fans in, you have to kind of simplify it for people to get involved. But on the other hand, maybe there's a bit of intrigue. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Tell me what you think on that one. The Florida Panthers. I do like the panther being in there. I like the fact it has Florida on it. I like the colouring. However, the shape of the logo is the only thing that lets it down for me. I prefer things that don't look like football, soccer, crests in my opinion, and this is what this is screaming to me. The LA Kings, again, they're only not perfect because of the chrome helmets, but I like the regal elements too much not to give it an A. The Washington Capitals, I love it. They're in Washington and it's all very Americanized with the stars and everything. Very good, very, very good. The only thing that lets them down is the colours probably aren't the most original. They're quite common. So, perfect branding, A+. The Seattle Kraken, my favourite brand identity in the National Hockey League. Whoever does your branding, I love you because everything through from the logo, all the social media, the game night stuff is just all so perfectly on theme. It is a marketer's dream. Round of applause for the Seattle Kraken because they do it the best in the National Hockey League in my opinion. I also have the New York Rangers in here. Very historic, iconic. I love the simple Rangers thing across the jersey, but I like the logo even more. I really enjoy it. It's just very nice. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Now obviously I am a little biased here. I will not lie. I am a massive Leafs fan and I love the logo. I really like it. It's a maple leaf. It's Canadian. It sticks out. It's got the full team name on it, which I adore. Yeah, I love it. Obviously, my bias definitely has probably come in here, but as I said, this is my opinion. So, the New Jersey Devils. Apart from that jersey, their branding, I love it, even though that actually was good branding because it got people talking about the brand, which is the whole point. But their logo, it's nice and simple. The colours stand out, the jerseys look good, it's great. The Colorado Avalanche, I love the logo and the colouring so much. It stands out. You can tell that like it's a sports team anyway. The snow going around the A, oh yeah, like an avalanche. I love it, love it. And finally, the Boston Bruins. Very iconic, simple icon. The yellow and the black works because it's not blue and orange. I really like it. I like their logo. Their jerseys are always just on point, and yeah, their branding is very consistent throughout, which I appreciate. So those are my thoughts on NHL brands ranked from D up to A+. Comment down below and tell me what you think, what brands are your favourite and least favourite, and I will be back soon with more hockey chats from across the pond. Bye guys.
Trapped in your web, I should have stayed in bed, 'cause you don't know you got me. I've looked from every angle, it's getting hard to handle, but don't you say you're sorry, 'cause I like the way you